Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why the moment you decide to truly change, everything around you seems to test you? Why old friends fade? Why sudden doubts choke you at night? Why tiny signs appear in the corners of your days like secret messages? Stay here, because if you notice these signs, don't stop. You're not lost. You're closer to your truth than you think. Listen carefully. Many people turn back when these signs appear because they mistake discomfort for danger. They run back to comfort, to routine, to sameness. But if you choose to stay when things feel most uncertain, you step through a hidden doorway. You discover a part of yourself that cannot be taught, only uncovered. That's why you must listen to every word, because by the end, you'll see why your struggle is not your enemy, but your guide. First, remember this: discomfort is not your punishment, it is your compass. If your days feel heavy, if you feel like a snake shedding its skin, you are not falling apart, you are being rebuilt. Most people crave change, yet fear the pain that comes with it. But there is no new self without tearing away the old. So when discomfort visits, greet it. It is the sign you are moving. Second, look at the faces around you. Who has disappeared? Who cannot sit with your silence anymore? When people drift away, it's not always betrayal. It is life pruning your garden. Every new season demands new roots. Do not chase ghosts who were never meant to follow you to higher ground. The emptiness they leave is room for your expansion. Third, notice the whispers life sends you. The repeating numbers, the stranger's words that feel meant for you, the book you stumble upon that answers your secret question. These are not accidents. Life does not shout. It murmurs. The path ahead flickers with small signs for those brave enough to notice. If you see them, keep going. Fourth, feel the resistance inside you, the heavy fear, the voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" That voice grows loudest when you stand on the edge of becoming someone new. It is your mind's way of protecting its old story. Thank the fear, then keep walking. The closer you get to freedom, the more your chains rattle. Fifth, watch for a quiet thing within you, a small ember that refuses to die. It might not roar yet, but it glows in moments of stillness. It pulls you towards something that feels real, raw, unfinished. That flicker is not random. It is your soul's blueprint. When everything feels uncertain, yet this spark survives, you are exactly where you need to be. If obstacles grow bigger, don't lose faith. Every closed door is proof you're in motion. Every stone in your path is there to strengthen your step, not stop it. Remember, rivers do not curse the rocks. They carve through them. And finally, if lately you find yourself craving truth more than comfort, if fake smiles, empty talk, hollow routines make you restless, know that your real self is pushing through. You are tired of pretending. You are craving a life that feels like yours. That craving is your permission to keep going. When you notice these signs, discomfort, empty spaces, tiny synchronicities, inner resistance, and the burning desire for truth, do not run. Do not shrink back into the old shell you have already outgrown. Sit with the unease. Welcome the silence. Honor the signs. The path you're on is not meant to feel safe. It's meant to feel alive. Keep going. You are not lost. You are becoming. And all that you seek is quietly waiting for you to reach it. One brave step at a time. This comfort is the first sign you must learn to trust, though the world has taught you the opposite. From the moment you could walk, you were taught that comfort is the goal. A warm bed, familiar faces, predictable days. But somewhere deep inside, you have always known that comfort is only half the story. Growth, real and transformative, lives beyond that edge, where your skin itches and your mind protests. Discomfort arrives like an uninvited guest, knocking on your door when you least expect it. In the late hours when doubt wraps around your ribs, when your hands tremble before making a choice that could change everything, when you feel you no longer fit inside your own life. It's easy to mistake this feeling for failure. Easy to think something must be wrong because you're not calm, because you're not certain, because the ground beneath you shifts with every step. But listen closely. When you feel this restless, uneasy stirring, it is life telling you that you have stayed too long in one place. Discomfort is the force that cracks the shell so something larger can emerge. The caterpillar must dissolve to become the butterfly. The seed must split to become the tree. What breaks you open is what sets you free. Most people turn away when this feeling comes. They scramble to patch the cracks, to return to the familiar, to quiet the voice that whispers, there is more. They drown it in routine, in distraction, in empty promises to change later, someday, when it feels safe. But later never comes. Safe never comes. The only real safety is in meeting your discomfort fully, sitting with it, like an old friend you are finally ready to listen to. You will know you are on the right path when comfort begins to feel suffocating, when the old conversations drain you, when the places you used to hide no longer shelter you, when you look at your reflection and know it no longer holds the whole of who you are. It's unsettling, yes, but it's also sacred. You are watching your old self peel away. You are watching the false armor drop piece by piece. There will be days when you wake up with a tightness in your chest, wondering if you have made a mistake, wondering if this unease means you should turn back, find your way to the old life you used to know so well. But think of the times you settled for comfort, how heavy it felt to carry the weight of a life that did not fit you. Remember how you lied to yourself to keep the peace, how you silenced your own desires so you wouldn't disturb the world around you. That was not peace. That was stagnation. True peace is not the absence of discomfort. It is moving through discomfort until you are no longer afraid of it. It is seeing fear not as an enemy, but as a signal. It says you are crossing a threshold. The fear you feel is the gatekeeper of your next level. The trembling is the key that turns the lock. When you feel uncomfortable, when you stand on the edge of a choice that feels too big for your hands, do not shrink. Do not run back into the shrinking house you have already outgrown. Take one more breath. Feel the tightness in your throat. Feel your heart pounding like a drum calling you home. And step forward anyway. The world will not always understand this. They may tell you to calm down, to be realistic, to stay where you are. They may project their own fears onto your path, dressing them up as concern. But only you know what your bones are telling you. Only you know the hunger that will not be silenced. Discomfort is not chaos. It is birth. It is the soft breaking that lets in the light. It is the teacher that cannot speak in soft words, but only through the sharpness of its lessons. And every time you choose to sit in that fire rather than run from it, you are reborn stronger, clearer, more alive than before. When you find yourself restless, raw, untethered, smile. Something inside you is waking up. Something inside you refuses to stay small. Trust it. Stay with it. Let discomfort be the sign that you are finally becoming who you were meant to be. Not despite the unease, but because of it. There comes a point on your path when you start to notice the silence left behind by people who once filled your days with noise. Friends you thought would always be there suddenly feel like strangers. Conversations that used to flow easily become strained. Small talk tastes bitter on your tongue, and invitations that once excited you now feel like obligations you can no longer pretend to enjoy. This loss, subtle or sudden, stings at first. It feels like rejection. It feels like betrayal. It feels like something must be wrong with you. But what if it's not? What if this is life, gently or sometimes not so gently, clearing your space for something greater than you can see right now? When you begin to grow, not just pretend growth, but real, messy, uncomfortable expansion, you naturally disrupt the agreements you once made unconsciously. You shift your energy, your thoughts, your standards, and this shift creates a distance between you and those who are not willing or not ready to grow with you. It's not about blame or bitterness. It's simply the nature of change. You will see who was tied to your comfort and who is tied to your becoming. Many people are bound to the version of you that made them feel at ease with themselves, the version that didn't question too much, didn't reach too high, didn't challenge the invisible contracts you signed together. The moment you begin to break those old patterns, you break the bond they had with the you that no longer exists. This is why loneliness often arrives just as you step into your truest self. The crowd thins out. The phone grows quiet. Birthdays and celebrations become more intimate, sometimes painfully so. But in this emptiness, something rare happens. You hear yourself more clearly. The noise fades. The opinions that used to guide you lose their power. You start to trust your own voice more than the echo of other people's expectations. It is tempting to chase what leaves, to bend yourself back into the shape someone else misses, to apologize for your growth. But what is the point of wearing a skin you have already outgrown just to keep others comfortable? If you do, you only delay the shedding that must come. You postpone your own freedom. Sometimes people who drift away return. Sometimes they do not. Sometimes they return changed. And sometimes they come back only to test if you will shrink back to fit the old mold. Your task is not to cling, not to beg, not to convince. Your task is to honor the space they leave behind as sacred. To trust that the universe never subtracts without the intention to replace, but only if you don't fill that emptiness with desperation. In the beginning, solitude feels sharp. It cuts deep because you were taught that being surrounded means being loved, and being alone means something is lacking in you. But there is a kind of solitude that isn't loneliness. It is spaciousness. It is fertile ground. In that space, you meet yourself fully. You learn the sound of your own thoughts when they are not drowned by opinions. You remember your original dreams before they were weighed down by other people's limitations. Those who leave are not your enemies. They are your teachers. They show you where you have outgrown a version of yourself. They reveal which bonds were real and which were only convenience wrapped in affection. If you hold resentment for their exit, you hold yourself back from seeing the gift they leave behind. And when the right ones come, because they will, you will not need to twist or shrink or hide parts of your soul. You will stand as you are, and they will stand with you. You will not fear losing them, because they do not cling to your comfort, but to your truth. These are the people who water your roots and celebrate your branches as you reach higher. If you find yourself in an empty room where laughter used to echo, if you scroll through your contacts and wonder who you can still call, breathe. This emptiness is not here to punish you. It is here to prepare you. The ones who have fallen away have made space for the ones you truly belong to. But first, you must belong completely to yourself. Stand in the clearing, trust the silence. Honor the goodbye as much as you once cherished the hello. The path ahead needs your full presence, not a half-life spent dragging ghosts along. The absence of familiar faces is not a void. It is proof that your path is higher than where you started. Keep walking. Those meant for you will find you where you truly are, not where you used to hide. Life has a way of whispering to you when you're finally still enough to listen. These whispers rarely come as loud declarations or neon signs. Instead, they slip into your day disguised as coincidences. A book falling open at the exact page you needed, a stranger's offhand remark that echoes a question you've been silently carrying, a chance encounter that stirs something long asleep inside you. These moments, these gentle nudges, are not random. They are life's way of saying, "You're on track. Don't stop now." Most people overlook them. They dismiss synchronicities as accidents because the rational mind loves tidy boxes. The rational mind wants proof, wants logic, wants guarantees. But the deeper part of you, the part that knows before you can explain, recognizes these signs as breadcrumbs leading you through the forest of your becoming. Have you ever noticed how, when you are fully lost in distraction, these moments rarely happen? It is only when you step into the unknown, when you dare to act on a hunch or make a choice that has no certainty but feels deeply right, that life begins to respond in mysterious ways. Suddenly things line up. The right person calls you out of the blue. A door opens where there seem to be only walls. You hear a song lyric that delivers the exact message you needed that day. These synchronicities are not magic in the sense of fairy tales. They are reminders that you are not as separate from life as you think. You are not a lone wanderer drifting through random events. You are part of a living web that responds to your inner alignment. When you align your steps with your truth, however shaky, however uncertain, you enter into a silent dialogue with the universe. And the universe, patient and watchful, sends you signs to keep you going when your logical mind tries to talk you out of your path. Because sometimes these signs come in clusters. Repeating numbers on clocks, license plates, receipts. Some people scoff at such things, but notice how they appear exactly when you're doubting yourself, second-guessing your choices, wondering if you've lost your way. It is not about the numbers themselves. It is about the gentle reassurance that something larger than your worry is at work. Other times, the signs come in the form of people. The unexpected conversation with a stranger who unknowingly delivers a message you've been searching for. Or an old friend you haven't spoken to in years who reappears just when you need a reminder of who you once dreamed you could be. There will be days when the signs feel absent, when silence feels like indifference. But often the silence is part of the conversation too. It asks, will you keep going when there is no obvious proof? Will you trust the unseen path when the signs are quiet? Even then, something is aligning behind the scenes. The seed doesn't sprout the moment you plant it, but every day it grows roots underground. The challenge is to remain open, to not dismiss the gentle tap on your shoulder because it doesn't come with a map or a guarantee, to resist the temptation to demand certainty before you move. Certainty kills magic. Certainty locks you into what you already know. But the path you're walking, this path that feels so unpredictable, is not meant to be walked with your eyes shut to wonder. Pay attention to what lights up your spirit. Pay attention to the patterns you cannot explain but feel deeply in your bones. Write down the dreams that feel too odd to make sense, but too clear to ignore. Trust the conversation happening between your intuition and the living world around you. Get a good book. Down the deep footholds. Please share this book. If you find yourself at a crossroads, ask life for a sign. Then stay awake enough to notice when it arrives. It might not be what you expect. It might not come on your timeline, but it will come. Maybe it already has. In a memory, in a phrase, in a chance encounter you keep replaying in your mind. The path you are on is not built solely by action. It is built by attention. What you notice notices you back. What you believe is possible expands. What you dismiss withers. So when you see the signs, however small, however fleeting, honor them, follow them, let them remind you that the invisible currents of life are working with you, not against you. Trust the synchronicities. They are not the whole journey, but they are the lanterns that light your way through the dark, reminding you with each flicker, you are not alone. Keep going. There is a hidden truth about resistance that few ever speak of, yet it stands at the heart of every transformation. Resistance is the invisible wall that rises the moment you decide to step beyond what you have known. It is not a sign that you are wrong. It is not proof that you are unworthy or foolish for daring to dream beyond the limits set for you. Resistance is the guardian at the gates of change. It tests your sincerity, your patience, your resolve to become someone new. Most people misunderstand resistance. They feel it as fear in the pit of the stomach, a sudden flood of self-doubt that arrives uninvited. It speaks in familiar voices. You can't do this. Who do you think you are? This isn't for people like you. It's too late. These words echo so loudly that many turn around and go back to what they know. They tell themselves it wasn't meant to be, that maybe next time they'll be ready. But there is no next time if you don't stand your ground when resistance shows its face. If you look closely, you will see that resistance does not come when you live inside your comfort zone. It does not appear when you're repeating the same days, following the same tired routine, silencing your deeper callings with distraction. No, resistance comes alive the moment you say yes to something greater, the moment you choose to speak your truth instead of swallowing it, the moment you decide to leave what drains you, to build what scares you, to reach for what feels impossibly far away. That tightness in your chest, that restless mind that keeps you awake at night replaying worst-case scenarios. These are not signs you should stop. They are proof that you are standing at the door of growth. The fear you feel is the old version of you fighting for its survival. It wants to keep you small, predictable, safe in the cage of familiarity. It does not know that beyond that cage is a freedom so vast it cannot be imagined from inside the bars. Resistance is clever. It knows your weaknesses. It will disguise itself as logic, whispering that you should wait for a better time, more money, more support. It will point out every flaw, every past failure, every reason why you should not even bother. It will show up in the people around you too. Their doubts will mirror your own. They may say they're only concerned, only trying to protect you, but what they are really protecting is the version of you they can understand and control. This is where you must be fierce with your own mind. You must see resistance for what it truly is, a test of your willingness to grow uncomfortable, to stay with the fire long enough for it to burn away what no longer serves you. The artist faces resistance when the blank page stares back at them. The healer feels it when they choose to walk away from a life that was never truly theirs. The dreamer knows it when they take the first trembling step into a vision no one else can see yet. Some will say that if something is meant for you, it will come easily. But that is only half the truth. Yes, there will be moments of flow, sweet moments when everything clicks and the path lights up before you. But these moments are rare and precious because they are earned. They arrive only after you have pushed through the fog of your own fear, after you have wrestled with your own shadows and refused to retreat. When resistance appears, when you feel the tight throat, the sweaty palms, the 100 reasons not to do the thing your soul longs to do, pause. Breathe. Smile, even. This is the moment when most people shrink back into the old shape they were trying so hard to escape. This is the moment when you choose not to. This is the moment you lean in. You feel the fear and you move anyway, one step, then another, no matter how small. Over time you will see resistance for what it truly is. A companion, a loyal gatekeeper that ensures you do not enter the next stage of your life by accident or laziness. It demands that you choose fully. It demands that you mean it when you say you want to change. And when you meet this demand, when you stand your ground and take that trembling step forward, resistance bows. It does not vanish forever, but each time you face it, its grip loosens. Each time you stand firm, you grow stronger. If you feel resistance now, if doubt is loud and fear is sharp, do not turn back. Lean closer. Whisper back to it, "Thank you for testing me. I know what you are. And I am going anyway." Somewhere deep within you, beneath the noise of your daily doubts and the voices that tell you to be realistic, there is a quiet thing, a spark that refuses to die. You might not always feel it blazing. It does not always roar like a fire you can sit beside for warmth. Sometimes it is only an ember, glowing faintly under the ashes of your responsibilities, your fears, your history. But it is there, waiting. And its persistence is one of the surest signs you are moving in the right direction, whether you know it yet or not. This spark is your compass when the path is invisible. It calls to you in subtle ways, a restless feeling that something more is possible, an ache in your chest when you do work that means nothing to you, a tingle of aliveness when you imagine a different kind of life, even if you don't know exactly what it looks like yet. That longing is not foolish. It is not immature or impractical. It is a seed of truth, planted in you long before you learned to talk yourself out of your own dream. Many people bury this spark under layers of what they should do, who they should be, and how they should live. They trade the thrill of the unknown for the predictability of the familiar, even when the familiar has turned stale and hollow. They convince themselves they are content because discontent is too uncomfortable to sit with. But no matter how heavy the soil they pile on top of it, the spark does not die. It flickers when you hear a song that reminds you of who you used to be before you learn to hide your light. It stirs awake when you see someone else living boldly, freely, unapologetically, and you feel a quiet envy because a part of you recognizes what you have buried. Sometimes this spark can feel like a burden. It refuses to let you settle completely. It nags at you when you try to convince yourself that good enough is good enough. It whispers when you lie awake at night, wondering if this is really all there is. It reminds you that you are meant for something that feels real, something that fits your hands and heart, like it was made for you alone. If you notice this spark, don't rush to smother it under practicality. Don't drown it in excuses or distractions. Protect it instead. Listen to it, even if its voice is small. What would happen if you let it burn just a little brighter? What would happen if you fed it with small acts of courage? A decision? A conversation? A commitment to try one more time? You do not have to have the whole plan mapped out. You do not have to see the finish line. The spark does not need certainty to grow. It needs your trust, your attention, your willingness to move toward it even when you cannot explain why. Most people wait for permission to honor this spark. They wait for the world to guarantee success, to clap for them, before they've even stepped onto the stage of their own life. But the world cannot grant you permission for what only your soul can understand. The world only notices once you have acted, once the spark becomes a flame too bright to ignore. By then, people will say you are lucky, gifted, special. But you will know the truth. You are simply someone who didn't let the spark die. The path of living with this spark is not easy. You will disappoint people who prefer you small and predictable. You will confuse those who think they know what is best for you. You will stand alone sometimes, doubting whether you are foolish to trust something so invisible. But in that loneliness, there is also freedom. There is clarity. There is the pure joy of belonging to yourself again. If you feel this spark tonight or tomorrow or 10 years from now, honor it. It is the part of you that remembers what you are here for, not to merely survive, but to feel alive in the truest sense. It will not always show you the full picture. It will not hand you a step-by-step manual for your destiny. It asks only that you trust its warmth, that you feed it with your belief and your small, brave steps. If you wake up some mornings with a quiet sense of purpose you can't explain, don't dismiss it as a dreamer's fancy. It is a compass, more ancient and more accurate than any plan your mind could draft. Follow it gently. Tend to it daily, and when the world grows cold or noisy, protect its glow like your life depends on it. Because in a way, it does. That spark is your truest guide home. It's an easy thing to believe that obstacles mean you've taken a wrong turn. This is what you've been taught since you were young. That struggle is a sign of failure, that resistance means you should retreat, that if something were truly meant for you, it would unfold without friction, like water flowing over smooth stones. But this is only a half-truth, and a dangerous one at that. The reality is that obstacles are not here to block you. They are here to strengthen you, to shape you, to strip away what is weak and reveal what is unbreakable within you. When you decide to change your life, you send a quiet signal to the world. I am ready for more. Life listens, and life responds, not always with ease, but with tests. These tests come in the form of unexpected delays, closed doors, mistakes, rejections, failures that sting so deeply they make you question your worth. In those moments, it's tempting to believe you were naive to try. But look closer. The presence of obstacles does not mean you are lost. It means you are moving. Think of the seed pushing its way through hard soil to find the sun. Think of the river that does not stop when it meets a boulder, but carves its way around or through it. Think of the muscle that must tear before it grows stronger. There is no expansion without resistance. There is no blooming without breaking open. The obstacle is not separate from the path. It is the path. Every obstacle demands something from you. Sometimes it demands patience, when your plans fall apart and you are forced to sit in the waiting room of your own life, watching others move ahead while you wonder if your turn will ever come. Other times it demands courage, when you are asked to risk your comfort for something you cannot yet see, but feel burning inside you. And sometimes it demands surrender, the hardest of all, when you must accept that what you thought you wanted was only a stepping stone, not the destination. You may look at those who seem to succeed effortlessly and wonder why your path is littered with setbacks. But do not be fooled by appearances. Even the smoothest looking roads are paved over ground that was once rough and unforgiving. Every person who has built something real, a life, a dream, a self worth living in, has met obstacles along the way. The difference is not that they were luckier or more gifted. The difference is that they did not turn back when the road grew steep. They did not curse the mountain. They learned to climb it. And sometimes an obstacle appears, just as you feel you are gaining momentum. And that is when it can feel most cruel, a betrayal, a failure, a loss, just when you dared to believe in something better. In those moments, you stand at a crossroad. You can surrender to bitterness, or you can surrender to trust. Trust that what blocks you now is not meant to punish you, but to prepare you for the weight of what you have asked for. Some doors must stay closed until you are strong enough to walk through them without losing yourself. Some setbacks are protection in disguise, rerouting you to something far greater than you would have chosen for yourself. When the obstacle appears, do not shrink from it. Study it. Ask it what it is here to teach you. Is it showing you where you still carry fear? Is it inviting you to find another way, to be more creative, more resilient, more committed than you thought you could be? Or is it simply testing whether you are truly ready to have what you say you want? There is a kind of grace that lives inside obstacles. They reveal you to yourself. They show you whether you are willing to fight for your own becoming. And they reward you, not always with what you ask for, but with the kind of strength that can never be taken from you again. When life pushes back, push back too. When the door slams shut, knock again, or find another door, or build your own. When the path is blocked, sit still and listen. Sometimes the obstacle is telling you to pause, to gather yourself, to remember who you are before you try again. If you can hold this, if you can learn to see obstacles not as punishments but as invitations to rise, then nothing can truly stop you. Because you will understand that the obstacle is not the end of the road. It is the shaping force that makes you worthy of the place you are going. And when you finally arrive, battered but unbroken, you will see that it was never just about reaching the destination. It was about becoming the person who could. There comes a quiet point on this path where you realize you can no longer stand the weight of pretending. You feel it in the exhaustion that creeps into your bones when you laugh at what does not amuse you. Nod along to conversations that drain you. Sit at tables where you do not belong just to keep the peace. The older parts of you once found safety in this, in being agreeable, acceptable, easy to understand. But something inside you is changing. The performance grows heavier than the truth. This craving for authenticity is not an accident. It is a sign you are moving closer to the life you are truly meant to live. It begins slowly, a discomfort when you lie to yourself, an unease when you stay in places where your presence feels conditional. You catch yourself mid-sentence, mid-laugh, it permanence, and wonder, whose life am I living? You see, the masks you wear, polite smiles, small talk, nods of agreement to keep the boat from rocking. You realize the boat must rock because staying still is costing you too much. When you crave authenticity, you start to see how much energy goes into maintaining what is false, how you shrink parts of yourself to keep others comfortable, how you stay silent about what matters because you fear being misunderstood or rejected, how you bend your spirit into shapes that please others but wound you. At first, the realization stings because you see how much time you have spent living for other people's approval. But this pain is sacred. It is the doorway back to yourself. Choosing truth is not easy. It will cost you things you once thought you could not live without. You may lose friendships built on shallow agreements. You may walk away from work that pays your bills, but starves your soul. You may find yourself standing alone in moments when you wish someone would just say, I see you, I understand. But there is a deeper understanding that arrives in this solitude. The understanding that you are done betraying yourself for the comfort of others. This craving for authenticity is what pulls you through the discomfort of shedding your old skin. It is what makes you stay in the awkward silence when you tell the truth instead of the convenient lie. It is what gives you the courage to say no when you would once have said yes, just to be liked. When you choose authenticity, you begin to attract a different kind of life. At first, it can feel like a barren clearing. The fake falls away quickly, but the true takes time to arrive. People who only knew how to love the mask will drift away. But in their place, those who see your raw edges and do not flinch will appear. They come slowly, like seeds pushing through frozen ground, but they are worth the wait. Your days begin to feel different too. Simpler, quieter maybe, but clearer. You wake up and look at your reflection and no longer feel the weight of all the roles you were playing. You speak and your words taste honest in your mouth. You sit alone and you no longer feel lonely. You feel accompanied by your own presence, whole and intact. It is a brave thing to choose truth in a world that profits from pretense. To say, this is who I am, without apology, without armor, without the desperate need for approval. But this bravery reshapes you. It calls forth parts of you that were hidden under layers of polite deception. Your real laugh, your real anger, your real longing, your real love. Do not fear this craving for authenticity. It is not selfish or reckless. It is life trying to pull you back to your original shape, the one you came here with before the world told you how to behave. It is the voice of your soul saying, I am tired of acting. I am ready to live. If you feel this craving now, trust it. Let it guide your choices. Let it ruin what was never real. Let it strip away what cannot stand in the presence of truth. You may feel raw and exposed at first, but you will also feel free in a way you never did when you were hidden behind masks. And when you stand fully in that truth, when your words and your actions match the quiet honesty of your heart, you become a mirror for others who have forgotten how to live without pretense. You remind them that it is possible to belong to yourself first, and in doing so, you find where you truly belong. This is the reward of craving authenticity, not just a life that looks real, but a life that feels real, down to your bones. When you step back and look at all these signs, the discomfort that unsettles your sleep, the empty spaces left by those who could not walk beside you, the tiny synchronicities that flicker like distant stars, the resistance that rises like a storm in your chest, the stubborn spark that refuses to be snuffed out, the obstacles that test your resolve, and the craving for a life that feels as real on the inside as it looks on the outside, you begin to see a pattern hidden beneath the chaos. This is not a random scattering of hardships and hints. This is the quiet language of becoming. These signs do not promise you that the path will be easy. They do not guarantee applause, instant success, or a smooth journey. They promise you something deeper, that you are alive in the most honest sense, that you're not sleepwalking through a life built by other people's expectations, that you are brave enough to listen when life whispers, more is possible. And so the next time you feel doubt circling like a hawk overhead, remember this: you are not behind. You are not lost. If you see these signs, keep going. When discomfort arrives, greet it as the proof that your old limits are dissolving. When people leave, let them go. Their absence makes room for truth. When life sends you strange coincidences, trust them like breadcrumbs leading you home. When resistance roars, lean in and know it is only the echo of your old self fighting to hold its ground. When obstacles block you, remember they are not walls, but gateways to your own strength. And when you crave truth more than comfort, honor that craving. It is your soul remembering why it came here at all. There is no map for this path. There is no guide who can promise you exactly where you will end up. But there are signs, and they are enough. If you notice them, hold them close. They are your proof that you are becoming, shedding, growing, rising. Take another step, and another. Keep going, not because it is certain, but because it is true. Keep going because every brave choice, every quiet act of faith, every moment you refuse to betray yourself is a step deeper into the life that was waiting for you all along. The life that feels like yours. Keep going. You're on the right path.